Hello everyone, it's Olumayowa Victor Ogunshola from iDPS Consult Netherlands. iDPS means I diagnose and proffer solutions. Today I've got something very interesting for business and management students from all over the world. Also, are you an entrepreneur or perhaps you're an industry professional? This video should be very useful for you as well. This is because this is the first of a three-part video where I talk about segmentation, targeting, and positioning. So in this very video, I will talk about market segmentation. I will then make a second video where I will talk about targeting, and there will be a third and final video where I will talk about positioning. Let's enjoy this first video where I talk about market segmentation. Market segmentation is the first step in selecting target markets, and this is a very important concept in the field of modern marketing and strategy development. Before we talk about market segmentation, let's ask ourselves the question, what is a market? A market consists of actual and potential buyers of products or services. These actual and potential buyers have needs and they have wants, and they have the ability and they are willing to purchase or buy these needs and wants through a kind of exchange relationship. Now that we know what a market is, let's ask ourselves the question, what is market segmentation? Market segmentation is a process of dividing an heterogeneous market into a relatively more homogeneous segment based on certain parameters like geographical, demographical, behavioral, or psychographic factors. So we can use these variables or these techniques that I've just mentioned to segment a market. It is important to note that members of each homogeneous segment will share certain similarities. So again, market segmentation is the concept of dividing a market into different distinct segments, whereby each segment can be chosen to become our target markets. Going further, let's answer the question, what is a market segment? Now that we understand the concept of segmentation, what is a market segment? A market segment is a subgroup which is identified as a result of a segmentation exercise. Members of each group have similar needs and purchase behavior. That's what a market segment is. What about a target market? A target market is a subgroup of customers which the firm chooses and develops specific offerings for. So a target market is a result of your market segmentation. This is a subgroup of customers that the company identifies and therefore develops specific marketing mix for. In this very video, we will use the example of an automobile industry. So a market in the automobile industry will be all the people who are looking to buy a vehicle. This will be the market in the automobile industry. What about the market segment process for the automobile industry? We can identify different distinct markets. For example, there could be families, that's one segment, yeah, and it could be singles, that's another segment. Let's say, based on information from market research, we identify that family market segments are flexible, and when we talk about automobiles, their needs, they want a car that can carry people and that can carry cargo, yeah, for the family segment. Also, let's say for the family segment, top of the priority of these price-sensitive buyers is that they want a safety and quality. So they want a car that can guarantee them safety and offer them quality. Like I said, also to carry people and to carry cargo. That's for the family segment. Let's talk about the single segment. Yeah? These guys, on the other hand, they have more disposable income to spend on transportation. So these guys will would also have a variety of transportation needs. So top of the priority of their needs is that they want to go for a car that has style and a car that has high performance. So for them, the kind of vehicle they want would be, let's say, sport cars. So we see two examples there when we segment the market in the automobile industry. One segment is the family segment. They want a car that can carry people and that can carry their goods, their luggages. They want a big car and they want safety and quality. The other segment is the young people. They have more disposable income for transportation, and then they want something that is stylish. They want a car that is stylish, and they want a car that will offer high performance, some high level of performance, let's say a sport car. Now, if our automobile organization only manufactures sport cars, what do you think? Should they target the family segment or the single segment? Obviously, they should target the single segment, because that is the segment that is most likely going to be their target market. And from the segmentation study, that's the segment that they should target from the example that I've just painted. So if the automobile company is making just sport cars, they should not target the family segment. Rather, they should go for the younger segment, single segment, who love sport cars, who want a car that is stylish, who want a car for high performance. Going on, now that we understand the concept of markets, the concept of market segmentation, the concept of a market segment, the concept of a target market, let's talk about some of the importance of market segmentation. It leads to sustainable competitive advantage. So when a company, not just for the automobile industry, that was just an example, when a business is able to segment its markets and then identify a specific target market in which it wants to offer its marketing offerings to, then this can lead to a competitive advantage. It also helps with focusing marketing expenditures. Therefore, you are not spending on the wrong target market. For every marketing expenditure, then you know that you're spending it on the potential customers. Also, it helps to maximize the use of available resources. Let's not forget that the resources available are very scarce. So when organizations engage in the concept of market segmentation, they are able to maximize the use of available resources. Also, it helps to ensure that there is a match between customer needs and products benefits. So when organizations engage in market segmentation, it helps them to offer a match between the needs of the customers and the benefits that the products offer. Also, it helps to increase the understanding of customer wants and needs. When organizations engage in market segmentation, they have more understanding about their customers. Lastly, the concept of market segmentation helps the organization to offer different products for different customer groups. Those are some of the benefits for organizations to engage in market segmentation. Now that we know the importance of market segmentation, the question then should be how can organizations or businesses conduct or carry out a market segmentation exercise? Remember earlier I talked about certain variables. Those variables are geographical factors, demographic factors, behavioral factors, as well as psychographic factors. Let's talk about geographical factors. Organizations can decide to segment the market by looking at countries. Do I want to serve countries in West Africa? Do I want to serve countries in Europe? Do I want to serve countries in Asia? Where is our target market? Or they could look at regions. So again, could it be Europe? Could it be North America? Could it be Australia? They could also look at cities, or they could look at population density, or they could look at, for example, climate. What climate in what part of the world is favorable for our products or services, and therefore we can target the customers from that climate or from that region or from that city or from that country. Going forward, organizations can also use demographic factors to segment markets. So therefore they can look at factors like age, gender, family size as well. They can look at education, they can look at religion, they can look at nationality, they can look at income, or even lifestyle of the target customers. Those are criteria to use when we segment the market using demographic factors. Also, we can use psychographic factors, where we are looking at factors like social class, we are looking at lifestyle of the target customers, and we are looking at personalities of the target customers. Lastly, we have another factor, which is the behavioral factors. For behavioral factors, organizations are looking at things like occasions, they're looking at things like user status, they're looking at things like user rates, and they're looking at customer loyalty. These are some of the techniques with which organizations can carry out a market segmentation process. Businesses, of course, want to target customers. It could be that they want to target customers in urban areas as opposed to customers in rural areas. It could be that they want to target customers with high income as opposed to customers with low income. It could be that they want to target families as opposed to singles. So these are various factors that businesses can consider before choosing their target market. Let's look at the first variable which I mentioned. Let's use the example of the automobile industry. That variable was the geographical factor variable. So for example, an automobile company could, for instance, target people who live in the countryside with their four-wheel drive. Yeah, so with the Jeeps or the four-wheel drive, then we say, okay, since we are manufacturing four-wheel drives, then we should target people in the countryside. So perhaps the roads in the countryside are hilly or rocky, then we decide to target the countryside with our four-wheel drive. Yeah? Let's look at an example for demographic variables, still using the automobile industry. Yeah, so for demographic factors, we can look at income, like I mentioned, and we can say we are going to target younger customers since we are producing small budget cars. Yeah, so we are manufacturing small budget cars, and therefore we will target younger customers because they have low income. Let's look at psychographic variables. Remember that for psychographic variables, we talk about social class, we talk about lifestyle, we talk about personalities. So for example, organizations like Mercedes-Benz or BMW are targeting upper class individuals. And this means that organizations like Mercedes-Benz or BMW, automobile example, remember, are simply using psychographic factors when it comes to market segmentation. They are looking at status of individuals, they are looking at the lifestyle of the individuals, and they are targeting upper class individuals. Finally, we have the behavioral variable, which we can use for segmentation, and therefore we are looking at benefits sought from a product. Yeah? So we look at the target segment or people who are looking at the benefit they can realize from a product. Okay, so I just explained how we can use geographical factors, demographical factors, psychographic factors, and behavioral factors to carry out a market segmentation process. Having said this, we need to assess the segment. Let's say we now have a target segment. We need to assess that segment. We need to ask questions. Is this segment substantial enough? Is it large enough? Is the size of this segment huge enough that it can actually lead to profitability? We need to also ask questions, is this segment accessible? For example, we will be making promotional techniques, or we will be communicating our offerings via the internet, via the TV, via the social media, via newspapers. So then we need to ask, is this segment accessible? Do they have access to the internet? Will they see our adverts on the TV? Will they see, do they have access to newspapers? Do they listen to the radio? So accessibility of the segment is also something to consider. Don't forget, the first thing I mentioned is substantiability of the segment. Is it not large enough that we can make profit? The example that I could give there is, for example, it is very wrong for an automobile manufacturing company to say we are making cars for just left-handed people. Yeah? If you make cars for left-handed people, is that large enough? On the other hand, if you would make cars for families, there are families all over the world. There's family in every village, every city, every town, every state, every country, all over the world. So manufacturing cars for families, of course, is going to be more profitable than manufacturing cars for left-handed people. Okay, so accessibility, you want to ensure that this target market, if you're promoting your products or services on the internet, you want to be sure that they have access to the internet as well. Also, we should talk about another factor, and that factor is actionability. Yeah, actionability. So we should ask ourselves, this target market that we have chosen, yeah, when we prepare the marketing offering for this target market, are they actually able to access our offerings? For example, it will be very wrong if we target a segment of people who do not have a driver's license. Yeah, how people who do not have a driver's license do not intend to purchase a car. Therefore, that would be the wrong segment. So actionability is very important to check this segment, that the segment that is chosen are actually the right segment that we prepare our market offering for. Let's talk about measurability. Yeah? We should look at the size and characteristics of every chosen segment. Yeah? We need to know something about the segment. We need to be able to determine if the segment is profitable or not. For different segments could require that we prepare different marketing offerings. Let's give an example of middle-aged single men and middle-aged married men. Yeah, if these two segments do not respond differently to sales of our automobiles, let's say sports cars, then we do not have to put them into separate segments. That means we prepare the same marketing offering for both segments. Okay, so having said this, having looked at substantiability, is it large enough? Having looked at accessibility, do we have access to them? If we promote our products on the internet, do they have access to the internet? Having looked at measurability as well, there are some other factors that we must consider as a business when we talk about market segmentation. Some of these factors are, for example, the resources available within our own company. Do we have enough resources available to satisfy the segment? We also have to look at our own organization's long-term objectives. Our objectives within our organization, does it align with the segment that we choose to serve? We also have to look at this profitability of the segment. We also have to look at the segment potential growth. So these are some factors to consider as well. Let's break this down into examples. Let's say, for example, a company can manufacture family vehicles, or they can manufacture, let's say, sports cars. And let's say they have only resources that will allow them to manufacture sports cars. In this case, then, they should go on to manufacture sports cars based on the fact that the target audience for the sports cars are large enough, apart from being large enough that they are willing to pay the right price as well. Okay, so also I talked about that we should look at competition, especially when going into new markets. Competition can affect companies when going into new markets. So competition is something that we must consider as well. Finally, making family cars is a part of the company's, if making family cars, yeah, for example, is a part of the company's long-term objectives, and competition within that industry is not fierce, then doing so will be considered as a very feasible option as well. Thank you very much. Let's not forget that in this video, I have talked about the concept of market segmentation. I have talked about how to segment markets. I have talked about how to assess if we have selected the most appropriate target segment. And I have talked about how market segmentation as a whole is an important marketing strategy for businesses. Thank you, and I hope that you have enjoyed the video. Let's not forget that there will be a part 2 of the video. That could be a shorter version where I talk about target marketing strategies. So for example, excuse me please, I will be talking about differentiated, undifferentiated, concentrated, and micro marketing target marketing strategies. And then there will be a third video where I will talk about positioning. Thank you very much. This is where it comes to an end in this video. I hope that you have enjoyed the video. Please, if you have enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up on YouTube. If you have comment for us, please, if you have feedback for us, please put your comments in the comment section on YouTube as well. Also, we'd like to hear from you, so you can visit our website, www.idpsconsults.com. We'd like to hear from you, or you can send us an email at info@idpsconsults.com. Let's know how we can serve you better. You know that I will not go until I talk about my passion, and my passion is that Africa must develop. Therefore, I say, are you an African anywhere in the world? Keep doing everything to promote African unity. Keep doing everything to make sure that Africa must develop. In English language, I like to say, thank you very much. Dutch language from the Netherlands, I like to say, thank you well. Yoruba language from Nigeria, West Africa, I like to say, Esheo. Bye.